Hello and welcome. This is our ID SDK for iOS crash course. So what I'm going to do is create a project using the ID SDK to recognize a marker on server side and get back information about it and just display the title of the marker. The marker is just an image. So now to get started, start Xcode. There we go. New project, single view application. I'm going to call this example 101. Next, I'm going to put it on the desktop. I'm going to hit finish. So there it is. And first thing I'm going to do is we don't work with bitcode, so I'm going to disable bitcode. There we go. Next is we need to add our frameworks. So I'm opening up, this is the directory where the whole project is. And here I already have the directory open where I uncompressed the ID SDK iOS latest version. And there's two directories here, source, which is another example app, or a demo app as it's called, and libs, which is our framework. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to grab this ID SDK libs. I'm going to copy it in here. And there we go. I've copied it to the directory. So I no longer need these. So I'm going to close these two and I will go full screen here. There we go. So now first thing we need is we need to add this file to the project that I just copied over to be inside of the project. So add files to name of our project. There it is. Select it. Hit add, and there we go. We have our ID SDK framework. Now we need to add the rest of the frameworks we need and libraries. So this will be under build phases, link binary with libraries. So right here we have already the ID SDK framework, and we're going to add core, media, and motion. We're going to add core location. We're going to add AV foundation. We're going to add lib C++. We're going to add lib icon v, and we're going to add SQLite 3, so that's lib SQLite 3. Just glance at these. We've created everything we need here. So next we're going to modify our view controller, and rather than typing, I'm going to replace all this text. I've got it already here on the side. I'll go over this at the very end. There it is. I've dropped in all the code. So I don't forget, in this code, I'm going to need to change my client key. This is when you register and you have an account. It's on the website. And your client secret key, also gotten from the website. So I have those saved here at the top. And drop that in there. Grab the other one, the secret key. And drop it in there. I forget otherwise, so we're going to do that first. We have that. So now I'm going to go back to the main storyboard. And in here, I'm going to make this fairly simple. I'm going to add another view to this view. This view is going to be used by the camera. So I'm going to drop that in there. And I'm going to need a button. And this button is going to be used to trigger a recognition. When this button is clicked, we're going to do a recognition. Okay, so I've dropped those two in here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to resize my viewport to fill the whole window. Disable the margins. I'll do that again. Done. Add these constraints. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add for the button. I'm going to add a couple constraints, and these are going to be for horizontally centered. And there it is. I'm going to add that constraint. And then I will add another one, and I'm going to put it to the bottom 20 pixels above the bottom, and I'm going to force it to be 88, 88. Add the constraints. On the button, I'm also going to add a color to it. I'm going to make it green so we can tell. There it goes. And change it to 88, 88. That should be everything. Let's select my view. And to update the frame. And there it is. So I have my view that I've created in here, this view. We can't put anything inside of this view. We use it to display the video, but we also use it sometimes to display other things such as videos, web pages, maybe 3D animations, FBX files. So for that reason, this is what we have. And we have our button to do the recognition. So next is hooking this up to its proper class. So our view, it's going to be an ID AR view. And I'm going to go here to the view controller, and we're going to select connectors inspector, and we're going to grab the AR view and drag it, the button, drag it, and then our received action for the recognizer, drag it to the button, touch up inside, there we go. And that should be everything. I'm going to hit save, and I have my phone selected. I'm going to hit run. All right, and it ran. So now to take a look at what's happening in the code. So on here, this is our connectors for the buttons, for the AR view, and also we create a recognizer that's used to recognize images, and once you connect the engine to the AR view, it uses the camera and creates the view. It is also used to do recognition and get the results back. So we have those. First thing we do when the view loads, we initialize the engine with the client key and the secret key and start it running. We check if everything is okay. This is for triggering the button. Next big thing is we start the camera, but that's pretty straightforward. It's also in the documentation. The big thing here is the recognizer. So when we click, we actually go for a result. We grab so when the button is clicked, we go to the recognizer. The recognizer checks if it's running, and if it is, okay, checks, so calls the recognizer, and here the recognizer calls the engine with the video image or with the image when you clicked, and waits for a result to see if we got anything back. And here, when we did recognize, or when the recognizer returns, we check if we recognized anything. If no, we say no match. Otherwise, we, from the response from the recognizer, we get the first object, which is our entity, and then we display its title. The rest is just helper functions for these main ones. So if you want more, take a look at the demo app that's inside of the SDK. So that's it.